Bismillah. Welcome back, Zoo Crew. Day 22 of 90. Somehow we managed to survive this long, you know? But yeah, what are we going to talk about today? So, I had therapy today. That was cool. And my new therapist, I like him. He's pretty cool. He's like an entrepreneur, he's a professor, and then like he does this on the side as well. Um, and like he has a good way of kind of just cutting through my bullshit because he's like an entrepreneur also. So like when I give him excuses, like he's like, nah, bro, like just don't try to bullshit me, which is cool, especially because like I feel I don't really have many people in my life who like will tell me the truth or tell me the truth in a way where I feel like they're on my side. And I guess this is a good segue into something that I realized just today is you can never really know what's inside somebody's heart. So while all of this like is going on in my life, like becoming estranged from my like mom, my dad, my younger sister, and like moving out, running away from home, and like just the general situation I'm in right now, like pretty much drowning in debt, no income, no job, um, trying to build a business from the like scratch. So in all of this, like the only people who have like really been like by my side or like making sure I'm like good or like checking in have been, well, obviously Mina, and then my older sister, shout out my older sister, my younger brother, shout out my younger brother. And then like today I was this is the thing, so like when I was in therapy, like I realized like, oh, I've just been like delaying shit and like avoiding doing things, um and like avoiding the responsibilities that I've taken on, you know and this is the thing, like the location I picked, it's close to the airport, and my thought process was like, okay, I'll go here and I'll just start driving Uber within a couple of days, just so I have some cash coming in, and then I can like build my business. Plus, this way, like I'll feel like uh accomplished, or like just having like cash come into your bank account. It's always like gives you motivation, right? So yeah, it's been 22 days and I've made zero progress on that, and I kind of realized that today. So I've been going through like this whole process of like, okay, let me like figure out what do I need to do, right? So first of all, I found out my driver's license expired in August. So I had to get that fixed. And like luckily I know the Service Ontario in Orleans is never really that busy. So like in and out within like 15 minutes, got the temporary license. And then like now as I'm going through like registering for Uber, I'm realizing there's so many other things, right? So now I have to get like a vehicle safety inspection report done, and like I have to get like a police background check done, and like stuff I didn't expect. I thought like I'm literally just gonna upload my driver's license and then like put a couple of photos of my car or like my like VIN number and insurance, and then I'm good to go. So today I found out that's not the case, and it's probably gonna take a while to like get all of this stuff. But yeah, so I reached out to like a few people that I know, being like, yo, like I need to get this safety done. And then, so this is the thing, like one of my like younger cousins, someone who I like pretty much was like my younger brother at one point in my life. Um, literally like his whole family, like I was always very close with them. And then like this is somebody from my dad's side of the family. But like we would have our falling outs or whatever throughout the years, and then like just little like disputes or whatever it was. And so like I reached out to him a little while ago just to like see what was up with him. And then like today I figured, because like I reached out to a few other people, and like I'm in a place right now where like speed is like the main name of the game, right? So like I can't be waiting around and like somebody's gonna help me, maybe they won't help me, and like and just being like delayed in my own process. So I reached out to him, and then he was like, yeah, like it's cool, like bring it in tomorrow, and like you'll probably have to leave it here all day, but like I'll get it done. And then like I kind of like like briefly like told him, yeah, like I dipped from my house, XYZ thing. And he was like the only person, like my only cousin, to actually be like, oh shit, like are you good, like is everything good on your end? And like we haven't really kept in contact for a while. And like it's always been love between us, as much as like we'll have like our disputes and shit, to the point where like he was living in my house with me at one point, and like yeah. So that was like a really interesting, like pleasant surprise for me. um because like as much as like I would paint him in like a bad light in my head, then like him being the only cousin who's like asked me like, "Yo, are you okay?" Especially considering like a lot of my cousins have been watching my content and like seeing what I'm going through, and then like nobody bothered to like reach out and check. Actually, no, that's not true. There's also one other like cousin, but he's like extended family, and like he's older than me, and like super solid dude though. Don't get me wrong. Like him and his older brother, like those are like proper like role models in my family, I guess you could say, you know. And people I was close with when I was younger, and like even like they got kind of a bad like rep in our like immediate family, just because like our immediate family is like garbage people, literally, like just literally gossiping about people and like making up shit about people, and like just being like, oh yeah, like they don't ever like hang out with people and whatnot. And it's like now that I'm where I am now, like looking back on it, it's like it makes so much sense why they were like avoiding most of the family, because it's like these are all toxic, chaotic people, and like these guys are all professionals, very educated, like very much follow the religion, like just good people, clean hearts, you know. And yeah, I mean, I have huge respect for that family, and yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like a whole other thing though. I don't want to like go into so much family politics and drama, you know? So yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. And outside of that, um, what else did I get up to today? Yeah, so I started writing a book, and this has been something I've been like contemplating for a while, right? And like those of you who have been like following my journey, or like you've been like one of my like original Instagram followers since like I went full time on content in 2019, you'll know like a lot of the stuff I would talk about like outside of real estate and investing was credit. And a lot of people don't know much about credit. They don't teach anybody about credit in school. And honestly, I think that's by design, because it's a very powerful tool when used correctly, right? Is literally leverage you can use to gain freedom. And I wouldn't be in this place right now if not for credit. Because the way like I was like pretty much trapped or like kept was like always dependent on my dad for income, and like financially kept to a point where I wouldn't ever be able to leave if he didn't let me leave, right? And it's only because I understood credit so much and like have access to credit that I was able to like actually just leave, and like now I'm just living off my credit, which is a very dangerous thing to do. So I don't recommend anybody else do this. But it's yeah, so the point being like a few people throughout my like journey I helped with credit hacks, right? Some of these guys I took them from like 600 credit score to 700 credit score within like a month and a half, right? So I know all of these tactics work, especially because like I've used them myself to the point where my credit score was higher than my dad's credit score, right? And then obviously like he played these games to like make sure my credit score dropped again, and like did all kinds of crazy shit, you know? To the point where like one time, so he bought this fourplex, and like I'm like shrewd in the sense of like I know how to turn something into something else, right? So he bought this fourplex, put it under my name just because like he couldn't qualify for the mortgage at the same rate, right? Because I qualified as like a first time home buyer. And then like we renovated it and whatnot, right? So I was using that as content, and I was like claiming that as like, oh yeah, this is my first deal I did when I was like 20 something, you know? And like the reality is like, yeah, I was involved a lot in that deal, managing the renos, managing the like renting it out, managing like the tenants, etc. Right. But then when him and my mom got into like their big ass fight, um, literally like he stopped paying the mortgage, was collecting the rent, and then like I'm on the hook now, you know, because the mortgage was in my name. And like that's just like the level of like psychotic he is, and like how vindictive he is, you know? Like he'll go out of his way to crush whoever's in front of him. And I think that's part of why like first of all, I didn't like enjoy being in business with him or his style of business. And then like how he would like abuse people who were like working with him, like other business owners, like just taking advantage of them and being like, oh, I don't have money, and like not paying them. Like proper like scumbag shit, you know? And yeah, so crazy, crazy individual, you know? And that's what I think happens when you let your ego go out of control and when you let money become your god. And Yeah. So, anyways, coming back to the point, I've started writing an ebook about credit. It's gonna cover everything that I've learned about credit. And look, part of the reason my dad became so successful is because of credit, right? And like when I'm saying credit, it means like leverage and like using other people's money, right? That's like the whole name of the game. The people who are like the most wealthy that you'll ever meet, they use leverage. They understand leverage, right? Most sophisticated investors or business owners understand leverage and credit, and they use that to create more wealth, right? Or like create money out of thin air, you could say. Now, outside of this, while I was at Blackcard, same thing, right? I saw people come in and like we would teach them how to get access to like $100,000 in credit so they could pay for coaching and like the courses and whatnot, right? And then I've seen some of these people, they took a huge risk on themselves. They put like 25K on a credit card, bought coaching, and now like 5 years later, well on their way to being like financially free millionaire and like running their own business, time freedom, enjoying their life, you know? So credit is a very powerful thing. However, on the flip side, it's also a very dangerous thing, right? If you have bad habits, bad spending habits, your ego's running out of control, and like you have no discipline, credit will literally destroy you and it'll put you in a hole that you'll never get out of, right? You'll spend your whole life trying to dig yourself out of this hole. So this is why like now, this is something I've thought about for a while. Even last year I thought about like, okay, maybe I'll just put this book out. And then same thing, like when I left the dealership, I was like, okay, let me just put out this ebook now. And then I never really did it, you know? And I just kept delaying it. So now today, while I'm like waiting to like be able to start driving Uber, I was like, okay, fuck it, let me just write the fucking ebook, right? So I wrote the first 3 chapters already. It's probably going to be around 9 chapters in total. And like, it's not going to be a huge book by any means. It's going to be straight to the point, not full of fluff and garbage. It's going to explain literally everything I've learned about credit, how to use credit, how to boost your credit score, why you need credit. And then maybe like, yeah, well, those are the main talking points. There's some other stuff, but you'll have to wait till the book comes out, you know? So probably by next week, this ebook will be out, maybe sooner, because I imagine like, yeah, it's like 6:30 now. I'll probably be able to finish another 2 to 4 chapters, if not the whole book by the end of the day, you know? So stay tuned for that. And then I guess the next book I will release, so I'm gonna release a few ebooks now. The first one is gonna be about credit. The second one is gonna be about uh, real estate investing slash finance. And then the third one will be about first time home buyers. And then the fourth one will be about buying a car, you know, because that's like another area. It's so like buying your car, like your first car and buying your first home. These are like two of the biggest purchases anyone will make in their life. And there's literally nobody teaching us like how to go about doing this, right? And the only reason like I'm aware of this stuff is like, well, first of all, for cars, like the stuff I learned working in the dealership, I would have never known had I not worked in the dealership, right? So I saw behind the curtain. And then real estate investing, this is something I've been around my whole life and then like actively searched out for more information, whether that's like courses, books, seminars, yeah, you know, anything I could like find and consume, like YouTube, Google, and then actually like walking deals, underwriting deals, right? So this like the real estate investing world is something that I'm like very well versed in, right? And then when it comes to like first time home buyers, like it's pretty straightforward just given like my knowledge about real estate investing. And I feel like a lot of people get taken for a ride when they're like buying a house or buying a car, really, right? So yeah, these are the 4 ebooks I'm going to be releasing. And I'll probably sell them for like $5 or $10, you know, so it's affordable for everybody. And the reason I'm starting with credit is because the way the economy is going, uh, understanding credit is going to be the difference between somebody being able to feed their kid or their kid starving, right? So it's a very important topic to discuss. And that's why I'm starting with credit. I might get to a point where I'll let other people like resell my books for me and like split the commission, like give somebody like 50%. So like if I sell the book for $10 and now like somebody wants to become an affiliate and sell it for me because they thought the information was valuable, like by all means, I would be open to that and let them like make $5 on each one, or maybe even like $8. I don't know, who knows, you know? The main point of this is like, first of all, to create digital real estate, you could say. Like, this is true passive income. Like, you do the work once, you create it, the asset, and it just lives online forever, right? And then the second reason being, like the main reason really, being to just kind of educate people and like give this information to people, like whoever needs it. Especially because most people need this information, and like the information you'll find online is from not trustworthy people, right? They have ulterior motives. They're trying to sell you a course. They're trying to sell you a fucking high ticket coaching program. They're trying to like take your money to invest, or like the information is just geared towards Americans, right? So even like, should I expose this guy? No, haram. I'll leave him be. But like the credit coaches in Canada, like for the most part, have no idea what they're talking about, right? And it's like pretty obvious when you see their content or lack thereof, especially when like, so I'll give you a story. Like a couple years back, I guess it was like 2021 or 2022. No, it must have been like 2021. Like this like young homie of mine I know, he was trying to get a car, and he spoke to this so-called credit expert, or Canada's number one credit coach, right? And this guy, like the answers he was giving him was all just like stupid as shit. Like you could tell he didn't know what he was talking about. And then yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, you didn't get approved for like XYZ reason," or like, "Oh, because your credit score wasn't high enough." And then like this young guy is like, "Well, that can't be the case because my credit score is like through the roof, to the point where like banks and like credit unions are literally just sending him credit cards in the mail, being like, 'Here you go, here's your new credit limit,' you know?" And then so I asked him, I was like, "Well, have you ever owned $100,000 car before?" No. Have you ever leased a car before? No. Have you ever financed a car before? No. What are the trade lines you have? Just credit cards? Well, that's why you didn't get approved, right? You can't just go from having like only credit cards to now trying to lease $100,000 car, or like finance $100,000 car. The banks don't like that, right? First of all, you have to have multiple trade lines. So when I'm saying trade lines, that's like the actual term for credit. So whenever you hear like banks or like the government talking about swap lines or trade lines, they're literally talking about credit, lines of credit, credit cards, etc. Well, governments talk about swap lines, which is like a line of credit, you could say. But yeah, for the most part, you need to have a mixture of these things, right? So all of these like fake credit experts, what do they harp on and like focus on? Credit score. Credit score is not the main thing. Credit profile is important, you know? And credit profile is the basket of trade lines that you have. So credit card, line of credit, mortgage, car lease, car finance, whatever, you know? This is a good place to pause. Do not ever finance a car. Either lease a brand new car that you can afford and you can write off as a business expense, or go find a car you can afford in cash that's used and buy it in cash. That's the only way I would recommend you buy a car, you know? Um, so yeah, point was like, so you need to have a mixture of these things. And like if your end goal is you want to have like a $300,000 car, you want to have $100,000 car, whatever, you got to start small. You got to get like a $30,000 car, $50,000 car, and then work your way up, right? Or alternatively, you have to have different kinds of trade lines and like show to the bank that you are actually paying it back, you know? And at the same time, you don't want to just pay off the whole thing. You want to let some of it float, because that's, the banks make money lending you and me money, right? So now if you're just constantly paying it off, they're not making interest. So they're like, okay, cool, whatever. And like there could be a million different like reasons or like ways you were able to pay it off without actually being somebody who's reliable or like will be able to like pay it off on their own, you know? So yeah, I don't want to like go into a full deep dive on credit right now, and I realize like I kind of already started that. And this is the thing, right? When it comes to like real estate investing, credit, finance, like anything that I'm like passionate about, I can just start talking and then not stop talking, you know? So this could have ended up being like a freaking 4 hour credit masterclass. And I mean, now that I'm like saying that, like if I was doing these live or like streaming and like just taking people's questions, that could be beneficial. So that might be something that I end up doing down the road, because I used to do that before, right? On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Like I would just do my like videos, but like have them live so people come in and ask questions. It's just that when I started this YouTube journey, I didn't know where I was going or what the point of this channel was, right? And in all honesty, I shouldn't have deleted my original YouTube, but it is what it is. The past is the past. We just move forward, right? So, yeah, that's day 22 of 90. Zoo Crew, we will see you all tomorrow. Peace out.